Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Jimmy Butler shows glimpse of what is to come in Heat's win over Jazz. After 6 consecutive road games in a stretch that the Miami Heat went 5-1, they kept it going back at home with a 126-120 win over the Utah Jazz on Saturday. Miami has won 10 of its last 13 games and bounced back after a rally that came short against the Denver Nuggets on Thursday. The Heat improved to 34-26 on the season and now sit in 6th place in the Eastern Conference, outside of the play-in. The Heat played well as a team, with contributions from multiple players. Bam Adebayo's 23 points and 7 rebounds on 10 of 15 shooting was huge, as the All-Star big man had some crucial plays in the fourth quarter. He also held Utah's Lauri Markkanen to just 5 of 15 shooting. Caleb Martin showed a glimpse of his playoff form, doing it on both ends throughout the night. He had a clutch block on Colin Sexton in the final minutes, totaling 3 blocks for the game. Martin's ability to spread the floor and create offense with his slashing and strong drives played a big impact. Another key takeaway was how much more comfortable Terry Rozier looked. Rozier provided efficient shooting, going 5 of 9 from the field, while also playmaking with a team-high 8 assists. As the games have gone on, he has looked much more effective in his role. Miami shot 52% from the field compared to Utah's 48% and controlled the basketball while only committing 6 turnovers to Utah's 10. This game featured both teams going on runs, but it was the Heat who turned it up and never looked back in the last few minutes of the third quarter. That's when the momentum flipped thanks to a second-half takeover from Jimmy Butler. Adebayo went back to the locker room before the start of the final quarter after a hard fall, and that was when Butler stepped up. Butler shot the ball efficiently from every part of the floor, the paint, three-point range and going 10 for 11 from the free throw line. Butler led both teams in plus-minus with a plus 14 on the floor. Luckily Adebayo returned to the game and just in time to close it out. Adebayo and Butler took turns with highlight plays until Butler completely sealed the deal himself down the stretch. He had 2 clutch-and-ones, and it was clear he injected some new life into the team after falling behind shortly after halftime. This team has always been at its best when Butler leads the way and is aggressive offensively. Besides winning 10 of the last 13 games, Miami has also won 6 of its last 7. The Heat have the league's second-best defensive rating since the start of February and are rolling 1 month before another NBA playoffs. Butler proclaimed after the New Orleans Pelicans win a week ago that it's that time. On Saturday, Heat Nation may have just witnessed an early glimpse of playoff Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo lift Heat to home win over Jazz. Takeaway and details from the victory. 5 takeaways from the Miami Heat's 126-120 win over the Utah Jazz, 27-34, on Saturday at Kaseya Center to open a quick 2-game homestand. The Heat, 34-26, closes the homestand on Tuesday against the Detroit Pistons. The Heat continued its winning ways behind strong performances from its 2 best players. In a competitive game that included 21 lead changes and 11 ties, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler put the Heat over the top in Saturday's back-and-forth affair. Adebayo finished with 23 points on 10 of 15 shooting from the field and 3 of 4 shooting from the foul line, 7 rebounds and 3 assists. He scored 11 points in the fourth quarter. Butler set a new season high with 37 points on 12 of 19 shooting from the field and 10 of 11 shooting from the foul line to go with 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal and 1 block. He totaled 25 points in the second half. When Bam and Jimmy play with that competitive spirit and they're connected from a competitive standpoint, our guys feel like we can beat anyone and that we can conquer whatever we need to conquer, Heat coach Erik Spoelstra said. They were at their best on both ends of the court. but the Jazz's dominance on the offensive glass was the story of the first half, entering halftime with a 62-58 lead over the Heat behind a 19-3 advantage in second-chance points. The Jazz then opened the third quarter on a 7-0 run to extend its lead to 11 with 10:24 left in the period. The Heat had a strong response, using a 24-9 run to rally and pull ahead by 4 points just a few minutes later. Butler scored 16 of the Heat's 24 points during this spurt on his way to an 18-point third quarter. The fourth quarter began with the Heat and Jazz tied at 90. The two teams continued to trade baskets until the Heat went on a game-winning 22-11 run to turn a 2-point deficit into a 9-point lead with 1:11 to play. After allowing 19 second-chance points in the first half, the Heat limited the Jazz to 7 second-chance points in the second half. The 19 second-chance points, a lot of those were driving situations that led to different guys on different people, and they were just pummeling us in the paint, Spoelstra said. But in the second half, it was a better disposition, much more to how we've been playing the last 3 weeks. In addition to Adebayo and Butler's big games, Caleb Martin added 18 points on 4 of 6 shooting from behind the arc, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks in 23 minutes off the Heat's bench. But Martin did not finish Saturday's game unscathed, leaving the contest with 2:11 left in the fourth quarter after Butler's hand hit him in the mouth. The mouth laceration required 6 stitches, and Martin was unable to speak to reporters following the game. Adebayo was also banged up, limping to the locker room early in the third quarter before returning to the bench a few minutes later with a wrap around his back. While sore after the game, Adebayo was healthy enough to play the entire fourth quarter on Saturday. "I got blindsided," Adebayo said. "Those plays happen. I went to the back, got some treatment and finished the game." Terry Rozier contributed 14 points and 8 assists for the Heat. Rookie Keontae George finished with 31 points, 4 rebounds and 4 assists for the Jazz. Miami Heat vs. Detroit Pistons injury report: Tyler Herro, Kevin Love remain sidelined. The Miami Heat, 34-26, are aiming to pick up their second consecutive win at the Kaseya Center on Monday night against the Detroit Pistons, 9-51. The Heat have caught fire since the All-Star break, winning 8 of their last 11 games. The most recent was a 6-point victory over Lauri Markkanen and the Utah Jazz. Meanwhile, the Pistons are tied for the league's worst record, claiming a lone win in their latest 9 matchups. Herro has missed a significant number of games, with this injury keeping him out since February 26. Love's absence is a lesser concern due to the importance of his health in the playoffs rather than the regular season. Despite the Pistons' roster being at near full health, the Heat should walk away with a convincing victory. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation, Tyler Herro? Leave your opinion in the comments.